AFR On Demand is brought to you by Breck Golf. Try Beaver Creek today, just 20 minutes from downtown Baton Rouge in the Zachary area. They've got a PGA Tour driving range, a short game practice area, 30 to 40-yard practice shots. It's a great place to chip and putt and practice if you don't have time for a full round. Book your tee time today, golf.breck.org, golf.breck.org.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
Live from the Raising Cane studio.
Let's ride!
Hour 3, off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. It's AFR live from Marucci Hitter's house here on Segan. It is 5 o'clock quitting time, and glad you are driving home with us. Muse and Paulie are back in studio. Alondra taking care of business here on site with us. We will chat with Sam Spiegelman in 15 minutes. Rivals, put in a prediction for Easton Royal to flip to LSU. Royal did respond to that on Twitter, so I'll ask Sam about that in about 15 minutes. And Adam Rittenberg is going to join us. Covers the Big Ten and college football for ESPN, and we will certainly ask Adam Rittenberg about this. The Big Ten, this is from Ross Dellinger over at Yahoo on Twitter just a few minutes ago, or earlier today, I should say. He noted that in a joint meeting today, the Big Ten presidents and athletic directors reviewed the revised Protect College Sports Act, but they did not cast a vote. Ross noted the SEC, Big 12, and ACC were all scheduled to hold separate presidents' calls around 3 Central, so when we started the show today. Ross also noted that Notre Dame informed the ACC they were supportive of the bill as both a member of the ACC and as an independent in football. The ACC presidents also did not take a formal vote on the Senate bill. So the Big Ten and the ACC leadership have not taken a formal vote on the bill in its current state. Charlie Baker, the president of the NCAA, has released a statement today supporting the Protect College Sports Act, saying, while no bill is perfect, I implore college sports leaders and senators to support this bill now as our best chance to deliver the benefits and level playing field student athletes deserve while providing protections institutions need to sustain college athletics long term. I really kind of hesitate a little bit to go too deep into the weeds on this topic, because I kind of get the sense, and you tell me if I'm wrong, okay? Because, I'm a guy sitting here doing this show, and my job every day is to give opinions and to talk about things that you find interesting. And I know that the overwhelming majority of college sports fans are interested in the well-being of college sports. You want things to continue to progress. I don't know that everyone necessarily cares deeply about the minutia of the Protect College Sports Act. So if I could simplify it to make this maybe make sense and why it's relevant today, is there's a feeling, so the Protect College Sports Act is the first piece of legislation that has gotten bipartisan support. You have both a Republican and a Democrat co-authoring the bill. This hasn't happened yet. So you have both sides reaching across the aisle to try to make a compromise. So that's significant. And if this passes, everyone uses the phrase, you need to put up guardrails, right? Put a cap in, limit the transfers, a lot of the sort of lawlessness that is involved right now in college athletics, suing for temporary restraining orders, to get injunctions, for all that sort of stuff, to override NCAA rule, all the stuff that basically has led to this lawless culture in college athletics. This would put guardrails up. And so I think everybody is in favor of structure. The problem is the way this piece of legislation is structured doesn't necessarily check all the boxes that's needed for unanimous support as it's currently written. I mean, a week ago, we had the commissioner, Greg Sankey, on the show at SEC Football Media Days, and we ran through the 10 things that he SEC leadership didn't agree with in the Protect College Sports Act as it's written. And some of them are real sticking points. Expansion is certainly one of them, and the pooling of media rights. So you can like 85% of what's in that bill, but if the other 15% are deal breakers, they're non-starters, then the thing's not getting off the ground. And the reason this is so relevant today is there seems to be this sort of imposed deadline to make sure that this gets done now so it can go to the Senate for a vote so it can start moving through Congress. Otherwise, like, this session will end and it won't be able to be reconsidered again until months down the line. So you're putting it off yet another year, another cycle. So that's why this today has some urgency. So if anything breaks in the next hour while we're on the air here in the 5 o'clock hour, we'll certainly share it with you. We'll talk about it. But as of right now, a little bit, I shouldn't say a holding pattern. All the leadership are having these calls, but the ACC and the Big Ten have not taken a formal vote, and we'll see what the SEC elects to do if we get any info. I mean, just follow Ross Dellinger on Twitter. I mean, it's where whatever breaks on this will happen. It'll be Ross doing it, but we'll also get a perspective from Adam Rittenberg coming up here in about 25 minutes or so, who's at Big Ten Media Days and what sort of the Big Ten narratives are there. So we'll talk about all that coming up here in just a little bit with Adam. We're brought to you by Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry, lmfj.com, lmfj.com for Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. Remember, 2 locations in Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Lafayette, Shreveport, and online at lmfj.com. Maybe you got an anniversary coming up. Maybe you're looking to pop the question. Maybe it's a birthday. Shout out to my wife, Erica. She turns 29 today for the 27th time. I don't math real good, so I needed to think about that. But you want to thrill her with a gift in the red box? Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. lmfj.com. lmfj.com for Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. Amazing selection, not just diamond rings, but of course earrings and bracelets and watches and necklaces. They're awesome. Go check them out at Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry, lmfj.com. I am a little, you know what, I think in talking about the Olave contract, I am a little encouraged because as I continue to say, I know people don't agree with me. People are excited to see Olave get paid, and they want him to get paid, and they think he's the number one and all that sort of stuff. That's fine. And again, God bless him, man. He's been a great teammate. He's been great for the culture, great locker room guy. Love the fact that he came back from the scary concussion situation 2 years ago to play a full season and have a career in his contract. That's awesome. And I'm not saying don't pay him. I'm not saying don't re-sign him. I'm not saying let him walk. I'm just saying I don't think he's the 6th best receiver in the NFL. That doesn't feel outlandish to me, but some of you seem to think it is. But now it is interesting to get a lot of the feedback from folks that are sort of agreeing with me now as I've said it. But the interesting part of the conversation that some are bringing up is saying, well, the market is going to keep getting reset as more and more receivers keep getting their new contracts, and so he won't be the 6th highest paid receiver in the NFL, for long. And while I understand that perspective, you're also doing the deal with the market as it presently exists. You're not thinking about what it's going to look like in 12 months or 18 months, and I don't know what that's going to look like. I mean, what receiver on a rookie contract is about to get broke off? I don't know. I mean, Devontae Smith, for example, has a 3-year, $75 million contract when he did his extension, so he made $25 million per. Well, now the top receiver in the NFL is Jackson Smith-Njigba, who just broke the bank and is making over $40 million per. So you don't do a deal thinking, well, how's the market going to get reset again next year and beyond and beyond? You do it in the current state in which it exists. And the current state in which it exists is the New Orleans Saints are paying Chris Olave like he's the 6th best receiver in the NFL. And I just don't happen to agree. Now, my sincere hope, from a cap structure standpoint, New Orleans next year should be out of their proverbial cap hell, and they should actually have a surplus. It's like they're not going to have to do the wild, wacky restructure thing to get within cap compliance. They're actually going to have money to spend next year. And, of course, the cap keeps going up as revenues keep going up every year. So maybe it's a thing where this doesn't end up being something that's crippling, but I can't help but think of the years where the Saints did long-term expensive deals with offensive players that it didn't work out, and it ultimately crippled them to where they saw great defensive players like Trey Hendrickson or Marcus Williams walk in free agency because they couldn't afford to keep them. And that's sort of the thing that I would hate to see as you're rebuilding this roster right now through the draft, which is the right thing to do. I think they're 2 years late in doing it, but they're doing it now. I would hate to see a situation pop up where you have guys like Kelvin Banks or Taliesin Fuaga, or maybe it's Kool-Aid, or any of the young guys on this team that you're really excited about in the future, but you end up in a situation where you overpaid for the wrong guys, and it puts you behind the 8 ball down the line when you're trying to re-sign free agents you'd like to keep. So that's the perspective that I'm coming from. It's not an anti-Chris Olave thing. I'm excited for Chris Olave for all the reasons we talked about. I think he's a fantastic football player. I just don't think he's the 6th best receiver in the NFL. That I don't know any other more plain way to say it that might make sense. All right, it's after further review. Let me knock out a quick break. Someone who might one day be a top 6 receiver in the NFL is Easton Royal. How about that transition? Professional radio guy. Another national recruiting analyst has put in a pick for Royal to flip from Texas to LSU. It's our buddy Sam Spiegelman, who will join us next on AFR here from Marucci Hitter's House on Segan.
After further review.
We're brought to you by the Watermark in the Renaissance, Watermark Downtown, Renaissance Southtown, Watermark Baton Rouge's premier hotel property. Renaissance right there on Bluebonnet near I-10. That's been the LSU football team's home away from home on home football weekends. And I say it often, but if you're thinking of planning an event, think about what Renaissance Baton Rouge pulls off for the LSU football program. The team moves in, the coaching staff moves in. They convert the grand ballroom to where they have all their full team meetings and meals. All the smaller rooms they partition off for breakout like position group meetings. They have enough guest rooms to host the entire football team and all the rest of the guests that are there for the weekend, for a home football weekend. So check them out at Renaissance Baton Rouge. Maybe you're planning on being in town or have family or friends or clients in town for a football weekend. Make sure they know where to stay. Right there on Bluebonnet near I-10, it's Renaissance Baton Rouge.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
Well, first it was Steve Wiltfong. Now it's Sam Spiegelman. 2 national rivals analysts have predicted 5-star receiver Easton Royal to flip from Texas to LSU. Sam put in that pick today, and Sam Spiegelman joins us on AFR. Yo, dude, how are you?
How's it going, Matt?
Probably better than your mentions today, especially from Austin, Texas, I would imagine. Okay, so let's walk through it. Why? Maybe Sam, just walk through the process of how you go through putting in a pick like that.
Great question. Obviously, people who have been reading on the Rivals Network and on the Bengal Tiger that Shay Dixon runs, we have been updating this story nonstop leading into and since Easton Royal's official visits. Probably the biggest subject that we need to pay attention to, it was his timeline for a decision. And most kids in the 2027 class have already locked in a commitment or have flipped or shut down their recruitment. Easton Royal is one of only a handful of players that we are now, that I have put out multiple times, but now feel great about the timeline for when he's going to make a decision, which is likely going to be after the college football season starts, after his senior season starts. With that being said, why now for a time for a pick for LSU? As I've reported throughout the spring, I think he made 4 or 5 visits to Baton Rouge this spring before his official visit then at the beginning of the summer. The longer this has went, you've heard a lot of differing opinions that have kind of evolved as this timeline continues to change. One thing I can tell you for sure that is included in the intel that was part of this prediction, Lane Kiffin has put himself right at the forefront of Easton Royal's recruitment. Lane Kiffin is not known to be one of these head coach recruiters. Conversely, guys like Steve Sarkisian have that reputation. Former LSU coach Ed Orgeron had that reputation. But Lane Kiffin has involved himself in a very good bit over the span of this summer. And I can tell you that Easton Royal is an absolute top priority for the staff. Not that he wasn't a month ago, but that LSU is going to be aggressive, not only in the way that they recruit him and respect his timeline for making a decision, but from an NIL standpoint. I reported that this offer is probably going to be north of $1.5 million for Easton Royal when it's all said and done. I'm not saying that Texas and Florida won't be able to put that out there, but there is a lot of sense from the people in and around Easton's camp, from the people in Baton Rouge, and of course, the folks over in Austin who are doing everything they can and will probably hold on to his commitment for some time, that eventually this is probably going to work out well for LSU if things continue to trend in the direction that they have over the past week or two.
Sam, did I see Easton? I'm looking for the tweet right now. I thought Easton Royal made a reply on social media so as to say, I haven't even talked to anyone in recruiting about my flip, so how does this get put out there? Did I see that today, or was that maybe from a parody
Yes, you
site?
did.
Okay,
you certainly did.
And he's deleted it? Because I don't see it up there right now. So what do you...
Potentially.
Okay, yeah, please walk me through that and what happened. And maybe, do you have a relationship with Easton?
He's not wrong. Easton and I have not spoken on the record over the last couple of weeks. Probably at the beginning of this month would have been the last time we spoke on the record. And there has been conversation off the record with him, and I'm not saying myself, but or other reporters, but he has said some things on air. I know he did an interview with our friend Garland Gillen at Fox 8 about not speaking to coaches. He has had some dialect with some coaches. He's had dialect with general managers, head coaches. His mom has been able to speak to a lot of coaches. People in the building in Gainesville, Austin, and Baton Rouge are not going to take the summer off of recruiting the number one wide receiver in the country. And to be honest, Matt, this stuff happens all the time in our line of business where kids obviously don't always love when intel gets out and predictions are made, especially someone like Easton who, by all accounts, wants his decision-making process to be in secret behind closed doors and not for the open for people to pay so much attention to. But things turn out a different way in this field, and people speak. And the truth is that, a flip is not imminent. Easton hasn't told LSU that I'm coming there, and he hasn't told Texas, hey, I'm staying home. This is a fluid process. He could shut his recruitment down tomorrow and make some of us look like they don't know what they're talking about. But the truth is, the intel points to LSU and Florida continuing to be aggressive. I expect Easton to be on campus at all three of those schools in September and October. I believe that a decision could take all the way to December, but I would not be surprised that after those visits, seeing some proof in concept in Gainesville and also in Baton Rouge, if Easton Royal did not end up changing his mind and signing eventually with LSU.
Sam Spiegelman with Rivals. Sam, coaches don't like when intel gets out sometimes too. It's not just high school players. Let me ask about the timeline. So you said that a decision will come after his senior season starts. There was a time, if I'm not mistaken, where the thought was that Easton would let all these schools know a decision before his senior season starts. So why that timeline to wait until the season begins?
Yeah, I honestly believe that he wants to see more from some of these schools. I know that sounds to the extreme for a lot of people at home who, most kids are content that after they saw spring practices and made their junior day visits and then took official visits and, negotiated very high NIL figures that, he would need to see more. But, if you're an LSU fan or a Florida fan, the timeline being extended works in their favor. Now, there was some doubt in other buildings, or including LSU's, that how long would you wait for Easton Royal? Because, as you know, Matt, this is a different era of college football roster assembly. And as great of a prospect as Easton Royal is, number one receiver, number one player in Louisiana, number three in the country, LSU is going to be very aggressive again in the transfer portal next year. That came with the terms of hiring Lane Kiffin and Billy Glasscock to the head coach and general manager. But from what I understand, Lane Kiffin has been leading the charge to try to make sure that Easton Royal ends up being a Tiger. And I think that's affected some people and some strategy in the front office, that they're willing to let him take some visits. Like I said, Lane Kiffin he's known for his offense, but we've never seen it in purple and gold. John Sumrall is one of the best coaches in the country. You and I both know that, but he's never seen what that looks like in the SEC. So, before this kid does potentially pull the trigger on a flip, which again, we all know that I predicted him to, he's going to want to see that all up in person. And I think he's going to be in Austin for the Ohio State game. I think he's going to be in Tiger Stadium and in the Swamp as well. And if he does visit those schools, as I expect him to do, it's going to also put the pressure on Texas to figure out what they're going to do with their number one wide receiver commit visiting other rival SEC schools.
Sam, maybe this isn't something that you can answer, but I'll just get an opinion. Do you think Easton Royal is worth $1.5 million if you have a cap on a position group?
You know what? It's definitely not my place to answer because they don't pay me enough to make those hard decisions.
Right.
But I think you need to look at it from three different perspectives: from Florida's, from Texas's, and LSU's. And I know this is an ESPN station in Baton Rouge, but if you look at over at Texas, their receiver room starts with Cam Coleman, who's getting paid twice what Easton Royal would potentially make as his first year at one of these programs. So Texas's roster is loaded with high end talent that they are paying very high salaries for. At LSU, Easton Royal would be the number one receiver right off the bat, barring a huge addition in the transfer portal as well. But obviously, that's a part of the plan. I've been fortunate. I know this is a question you asked a little while ago, but I've been fortunate enough to hear about Easton Royal since he was in the middle school ranks before he got to Brother Martin. And they were talking about him being just an absolute alien of a prospect back then, that nobody could guard him. And Matt, over the last 3 years, nobody has been able to guard Easton Royal on the field. And he has blown up in camp settings where he has measurables and traits that you cannot teach. The fact that he is an offensive player, I mean, we saw what Lane Kiffin and Billy Glasscock were able to do to close with Big Rich Anderson and Lamar Brown last year. There are certain players with the skill set, the traits, and if they happen to be from Louisiana, it adds just a little bit more pressure. That to LSU, $1.5 million for Easton Royal makes a ton of sense. He is a must-get player that you cannot let go to another school in the SEC. He plays on offense. He can be featured in Lane Kiffin's strongest side of the ball. And in terms of, is he just a really good receiver or just a great one? I really lean toward the latter. I think he is special. I don't know if the best prospect I've ever seen at that position coming out of Louisiana has been Devontae Smith and Jamar Chase, obviously right there behind them. And I kind of have Easton Royal in that same tier. He is just a different sort of cat. In terms of speed and quickness and agility, he blows people away. He has the track speed to prove it, but he also has the intangibles. He has the work ethic. He's a fantastic kid, a fantastic young man. Wherever he ends up, he's going to be a great person to represent that university. And if LSU is lucky enough to win this sweepstakes, he's going to be a fan favorite for the Tigers.
Sam Spiegelman from Rivals. Y'all give him a follow at Sam Spiegelman. We appreciate it, man. Thanks for the time.
Anytime, Matt. Have a good one.
Thanks. Same to you. It's After Further Review. We're brought to you by Rouse's, the official supermarket of the New Orleans Saints. Interestingly enough, there's the photo of Lane Kiffin and Easton Royal on his balcony, the balcony photo. And Lane Kiffin's wearing a Saints hat, interestingly enough, a hat tipped to New Orleans, a literal hat tipped to New Orleans. Rouse's, the official supermarket of the Saints, Rouse's.com, Rouse's.com. Hey, look, you can always get by Rouse's for if you're making your groceries, if you're popping in for lunch or dinner, you don't feel like cooking. They have ready-made grab-and-go options on their hot bar or their sushi. They've got the seafood buffet over there as well. Check them out at Rouse's, the official supermarket of the Saints, Rouse's.com, Rouse's.com. Rouse's, this feels like home. I said at Sam Spiegelman, my apologies. It's at Sam Spiegs is the Twitter handle, Spiegs. At Sam Spiegs is the handle if you want to give Sam a follow. It's a great follow. I mean, he's a national recruiting analyst, and we appreciate the perspective. So now Steve Wiltfong and Sam Spiegelman have both put in picks for Easton Royal to flip, and Shea has said it all along as well that he thinks that Easton Royal will end up at LSU. The longer that door remains open, the longer there is an opportunity for Easton Royal to walk through it. All right, it's After Further Review. From high school to college, we'll not going to break. The Big Ten Media Days have wrapped up. Our buddy Adam Rittenberg, who covers the Big Ten and college football for ESPN, has been up there. He'll join us next as we continue on a Thursday edition of AFR from Marucci Hitter's House, where y'all they got $50 footwear, cleats, turf shoes, training shoes. Come get them here at Marucci Hitter's House on Siegen. It's AFR.
After Further Review.
Always love telling you about our friends over at River City's 1 Hour Air, especially on days like this when at 5:29 p.m. the air temperature is 97 degrees. It's freaking ridiculous, man. Anyway, if you got trouble with your AC, you got big trouble. So call River City's 1 Hour Air. They'll get you fixed up. Hey, listen, nights, holidays, weekends, they'll always come out. Look for the big yellow vans and trucks with the giant clock on the side. Give them a ring, 752-0001, 752-0001, 752-0001. Moscona Special save you $25 on any system repair. And remember also about their maintenance club. I always encourage you to do this. Always encourage you because you get membership pricing if you do need a repair. You get front-of-the-line service and your seasonal maintenance, your AC tune-up, and your heater safety check, that's complimentary if you're a member of the maintenance club. So call them today, 752-0001 for River City's 1 Hour Air.
After Further Review with Matt Moscona.
10 Media Days wrapping up. Heavy hitters, Michigan, Ohio State, and the defending national champion Indiana Hoosiers. It is still weird to say it. Adam Rittenberg covers college football and the Big Ten for ESPN. He's at ESPN Rittenberg if you want to give him a follow. Joins us now. Adam, we appreciate it, man. How are you?
Yeah, good, Matt. How you doing, man?
I'm doing awesome. I mean, Kyle Whittingham at Michigan. We're talking about Ohio State, and then there's Kurt Cignetti in Indiana bringing up the caboose, just wrapping up Big Ten Media Days to make sure everybody sticks around. Is this like an alternate reality for you that still maybe hasn't settled in?
You know, for me, it was visiting Indiana this spring to spend time with Sig and that team. And for me, it was actually seeing how their stadium is still the same. It's a below average stadium, kind of bottom of the Big Ten type stadium. And, their offices are the same. And it's like, man, these guys won a national championship. It is really unbelievable. But as Sig said today, listen, they don't plan to go anywhere. They have turned the page to this next season, and they believe they'll have a chance to compete for national titles and playoff appearances for quite some time. So this is the new reality in college football, and it is an incredible story that rattled the whole landscape, but it's not one that I think is going to go away anytime soon.
Do they have the trophy, like a really nice display for it?
They did redo their trophy case. They had quite a few more trophies to put in there. I mean, shoot, they swept, Heisman, all the National Coach of the Year awards. They won the Big Ten. I mean, people don't pay as much attention to that as they used to. They won the Big Ten title in Indianapolis. I mean, for me, that was unbelievable because I covered that game for years, and they're the closest school, closest campus to that stadium, and they hadn't sniffed it, and now they're in it. In winning it. It was just unbelievable.
Realistically, what's the perception, the idea of how good this Indiana team can be?
Yeah, I think they can be really good. I mean, line of scrimmage wise, they're one of the best teams in college football. If you look at it, offensive line, they bring back Carter Smith, who's the Big Ten Offensive Lineman of the Year, Drew Evans, Bray Lynch, and then they add Joe Brunner from Wisconsin, who was an All Big Ten guard. Defensive line, Tyreek Tucker will be one of the favorites for the Outland Trophy. At defensive tackle, they brought in 3 transfers who they think can contribute at the end spot. 2 from Kansas State, 1 from Notre Dame, and then it comes down to, can they run the ball effectively because they're going to be really committed to it like they were throughout the playoff run last year. And then what do they get from Josh Hoover? I think he's still the wild card because he's played a lot, he's been really productive, but he played a style at TCU with the mistakes and the turnovers that just isn't going to fly for Sig. That was a huge part of their success last year, not making a lot of mistakes, not putting themselves in difficult situations. And as you told me today, quarterbacks, and Fernando showed this last year, you're ultimately judged by making the big plays in the fourth quarter. And that's how Josh Hoover is going to be judged, because you can make an argument that this year's schedule for them is as tough or tougher than a year ago. Have the Ohio State coming in, having to go to Washington. I think they get USC at home. So there's some real challenging games on the schedule for Indiana.
Adam, we're in Louisiana, and people always talk about fit here just because of the culture in Louisiana and all that stuff. I don't know how prevalent that conversation is in the Big Ten, but when I look at Michigan hiring Kyle Whittingham, that just feels weird to me. And people here talk about Brian Kelly not being a fit, and Kelly's 64 years old. Kyle Whittingham's 66. He's a dude from California, spent most of his life in Utah. Does this feel like it's going to work?
Well, I think it'll stabilize things at Michigan. I don't know if it's going to lead to a national championship. And if it doesn't, then it'll be looked at as a failure. I mean, Kyle, why would you leave Utah at 66 when you're on the brink of retirement? It's to go win a national championship at the end of your career. It's interesting, though, Matt. Like, stylistically, it does fit. I mean, he believes in running the ball, winning the line of scrimmage, being great on special teams. He's a tremendous developmental coach, which Michigan had to be for years because they were behind, in my view, in recruiting and in spending, and now they've caught up. But it is odd, right? These guys from Utah all coming in, Utah guys, BYU guys, West Coast guys to Ann Arbor. But I do think his personality is a fit at this point in time, because Michigan just needs a little bit less drama. And again, it's nothing against the players. They weren't the ones causing it. Their scandals have been coach and administrator driven, staff driven, not player driven. And so everyone's like, oh God, are they going to be out of sorts because their athletic director was under siege here recently? Like, do you think the players care about that? Like, they want to know who their coach is. Yeah. They want to know how their practices are going to be run, who their strength coach is. Like, all of those things, Kyle is going to excel at. Will they be good enough? It's a really tough league, man. I mean, for all the SEC talk about depth, which we can get into, Big Ten's a lot deeper than it was a few years ago. So for Michigan, which was, has been a little bit down lately, to rise up in the conference is not going to be easy.
Okay, so let's talk depth, because there's a team that the more I kind of get into the preseason, magazines and looking at, I am sort of smitten with Washington, because I think Damon Williams is awesome. And I look at their schedule and I go, they may be favored in every game except one until the final two when they play Indiana and Oregon. Like, that could be one of the teams mid-November we're going, oh my God, Damon Williams, Heisman, Washington, playoff contender. Am I nuts?
No, I was pretty high on Washington last year. And, they were in some of those games. It was 7-6 with Ohio State at halftime. Michigan, they kind of let one slip away there, I thought. But they're very confident, talking with Jed Fish, talking with Damon Williams today. They didn't go heavily into the portal, which is always, to me, a big indicator. Like, he believes in his personnel. He did not feel like they had to go heavy portal to replace a guy like Jonah Coleman or Denzel Boston. Like, they like who they have coming back at running back and receiver, and then obviously to get Damon back. And they were very clear today. This is Damon's team. Even everything that happened in January, that 48-hour craziness with the portal, they are very much supportive of him. And being the leader as a second-year starter and a really explosive player. And then the part that surprised me, Matt, was Jed saying, we think we'll be a top 10 defense. He has real good confidence in the linebacking group, complete return of the coaching staff there, led by Ryan Walters, obviously former head coach here in the Big Ten. But I'm curious to see if that unit, if they are indeed a top 10 defense, paired with an offense that typically ranks in the top 15 or 20 in scoring, they will make some noise. They will be in the playoff conversation. I'll give you a game that's really important for both teams, but the winner of Washington at USC is going to be I think have a chance. The loser is going to have a harder road, obviously, especially if it's USC, because of who else they have on the schedule.
Yeah, I said that I think Washington could be favored in every game except one until those final two. The one is the game at Southern Cal in October. It's that should be a really good one. That, by the way, that 48-hour craziness with Damon Williams. Yeah, we were pretty well aware of that 48-hour craziness with Damon Williams. I think we might have been keeping a pretty close eye on that here in South Louisiana. I got a couple more for you, literally just two more. One is, okay, with respect to depth, and I haven't asked you anything about Ohio State, but they are what they'll be really good. We get it. It's just, can they win all the big ones? Who are we not talking enough about?
So I think, again, Washington's a good name. I think USC, talking to Lincoln, he believes this will be his best, most complete team. Now, they have a very tough schedule, much like Ohio State, but they have three big ones at home: Washington, Oregon, Ohio State, where they've played pretty well. Can they go on the road to Penn State and get a win? Can they go on the road to Indiana and get a massive win over the national champions? That's going to really shape their season. Again, I think you look at a team like Illinois, they've won 19 games quietly the last 2 years. That's the best 2-year win total in team history. Brett Bielema feels good about his team. Minnesota, consistent 7-8 win team. They bring back their quarterback in Drake Lindsey. Maybe they can rise up. But I think we're talking about the clear top three with Oregon, Ohio State, Indiana. Then Penn State, I don't know if they're a sleeper, but they're a team that with a very favorable schedule, a new coach in Matt Campbell, bringing over a ton of players from Iowa State, including their quarterback, Rocco Beck. We could look up and see them as a 10-win team at the end, and suddenly, oh my God, they're in the playoff. I don't believe they will advance far in the playoff, but they can get to the playoff.
Okay, before you go, I'd be remiss if I didn't get a thought on the Big Ten stance on the Protect College Sports Act. I know there was meetings today that I read that the Big Ten didn't take a vote, the leadership there. Can you just give us sort of a synopsis of the Big Ten stance on the PCSA as it is right now?
Yeah, I mean, much like the SEC, they wanted some revisions in there and felt like they were waiting a really long time to get those, and then they finally got those, and they have to circle back with their folks and their presidents and chancellors. Tony Petitti, the commissioner, is essentially spending 80-90% of his time on this. Constantly, we were doing an interview, was it Tuesday, and he stepped away to take a call, presumably about that. So he is very much in the weeds, trying to get this done. But again, you're dealing with a dysfunctional entity in college athletics, and you're dealing with a dysfunctional entity in the U.S. Congress. And when you bring those two together, what do you expect? So I'm not optimistic, but we'll see what happens here in the next few hours and days.
Dysfunction reigns. He is Adam Rittenberg at ESPN Rittenberg. Give him a follow. Covers the Big Ten and college football for ESPN. We appreciate it. Thanks, Adam.
Always fun, Matt. Appreciate you.
It is our pleasure. It's After Further Review. We appreciate Marucci's Hitter's House for having us here today. Love coming by this spot, Siegen near Airline. If you've never been, man, take the tour. Like, you got to go take the campus tour. You get to see where they make the official bat of Major League Baseball, which is patently insane. I mean, you turn on a Major League Baseball game and you see the best players on planet Earth swinging a Marucci bat, and it's made right here off of Siegen Lane in Baton Rouge. And you can take the tour. Remember, come on into the storefront because they got the footwear sale going on right now. $50 footwear. Cleats, turfs, trainers, they got them all. Come see us here at Marucci Hitter's House. All right, it's After Further Review. We got one segment left. We'll wrap up with our locks and what we learned. Unfortunately, didn't go great for us yesterday. It's a bit of a bummer. Minnesota Twins. And my Golden State Valkyries pick bombed too in the WNBA. But it doesn't matter because the Twins just brought me down. Stupid Twins. Still dominating WNBA bets. I nailed a 4-team WNBA parlay the other night, Alondra. A 4-team WNBA parlay.
So the entire WNBA?
Oh, it's so easy. All right, it's After Further Review. Final break. We'll wrap it up next.
AFR.
We're brought to you by Glow Resources, GLO, glowresources.com, glowresources.com. Complete employer solutions over at Glow Resources. Hey, go to glowresources.com/careers because they're hiring over there at Glow Resources. So glowresources.com/careers. They got it linked on their socials as well. glowresources.com/careers. From industrial to the executive level, everything in between, they got you covered. And I'm looking here right now. Baton Rouge, listen, I tell you all the time, they service businesses all over the country and the world. They have opportunities available in Baton Rouge, Salt Lake City, Caruthersville, Missouri, Port St. Lucie, Florida, Ashland City, Tennessee, Denham Springs, Splendora, Texas. Where's Splendora, Texas, Alondra? You're a native Texan. I mean, my point, LaPorte, Texas. Point is, they help businesses all over the country and all over the world. glowresources.com. Love telling you about River Parish Contractors, rpcontractors.com, rpcontractors.com. When it comes to your industrial contracting jobs, you want River Parish Contractors. River Parish Contractors, they are right there in Reserve. Got to go visit the shop. Man, they're awesome people over there as well. Just great to work with. They've got more than 500 employees. So you're talking about a business that not only prioritizes safety, I told you they scored a 99 on a Fortune 500 company safety audit, but they're big enough to do any style of job you need. Shops open 24/7 for any client. You want to stop by, see the progress of your job or any job, pop in literally 24/7 over at River Parish Contractors. Fabricate and install. It's easier on their engineers, significant cost savings because of the taxes. They're all right there at River Parish Contractors, rpcontractors.com. Come visit the shop and see my friends over at rpcontractors.com.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
Down the stretch we come, final segment here on this Thursday edition of AFR. Love telling you about our friends here from Marucci Hitter's House. We appreciate them so much for hosting us. Okay. How are we going to do this, Muse? I don't know if you can open your mic while you're there. So first of all, Muse, give us a recap of yesterday. I can tell you my parlay did not hit because the stupid Minnesota Twins screwed it up. Actually, so did the Golden State Valkyries. So I missed on my parlay. What about you and Paulie? How did you do?
So for this to work, I have to turn you off so I can speak, and then I'll turn you back on. I missed my parlay by one leg. The no-run first inning bet hit. The Yankees had a 4-run lead with 9 outs to get, and they lost in 12 innings. And then that also cost Paul his parlay as well, was the Yankees lost to the White Sox in 12 innings.
So we had a no for that. Stinks.
Yeah, not good.
No, not the best. Okay, well, we got to get back on the horse and see how this is going to go tonight. So actually, Muse, why don't you go ahead and start it and then throw it to Paul, and I'll wrap us up.
Sounds good. All right, we're going to go back to the well with the no-run first inning. It's done really well for us. As I said, it's one of my favorite props to bet. We're going to San Diego tonight. Giants and Padres, Robbie Ray versus J.P. Sears. No runs in the first inning. That comes back minus $1.15, so pretty good value. They have combined to give up 2 runs in the first inning here so far in the month of July. So they're hot. No runs first inning, Giants and Padres. Paul.
So I'm going to go back to Musso's Red Sox here. I'm going to go Sonny Gray +6+ strikeouts at +139.
Scone.
Okay. Going back to the well with the thing I know best. That's the WNBA. And I may not know anything about the WNBA, but I know this. There's no parity in that sport, in that league. The Minnesota Lynx tonight are on the road at the Toronto Tempo. Didn't even know that was a thing. And they're minus 770. This is a professional sporting event, mind you. That means you got to bet $770 to win 100 on the money line. Okay. The Atlanta Dream, this is tomorrow, but the Atlanta Dream are at home against the Seattle Storm, and they're minus 720. So we're going to link up those two picks, the Lynx minus 770, the Dream minus 720, and then to bring the juice down, we're going to throw in the Boston Red Sox on the money line tonight. They're minus 205 against the Athletics. As Musha, or maybe it was Paulie just said, Sonny Gray on the bump for Boston tonight. And I think the Red Sox will get it done. So that comes back, that 3-leg parlay at minus 110. So the Minnesota Lynx minus 770, the Atlanta whatever they're called minus 720, and the Boston Red Sox minus 205. 3-leg parlay coming back at minus $1.10, and you can get you a boost over at DraftKings as well to get even better numbers. So you're welcome. We're just out here handing out winners left and right. All right, it's after further review. I love telling you about the Williamson Eye Center. Dr. Blake Williamson and the gang, they're awesome. Check them out, williamsoni.com, williamsoneye.com for the Williamson Eye Center. Remember, back to school time, parents, schedule your eye appointment for your kiddos. Like you take them to the doctor for their annual checkups, whatever it may be. Make sure you take them to the eye doctor. They can see the board. They can do great in school. They used to have a board in school. Is that dry erase board, whiteboard? We had chalkboards. I guess they have whiteboards. I don't know. Does everybody use computer? Whatever. Make sure their eyes are good. Full service optical shop, williamsoneye.com, williamsoneye.com. Eye care, eyewear, eye surgery. Eye exams, contacts and glasses, eye surgery. They do it all. williamsoneye.com, williamsoneye.com. Okay, just about going to do it for us here. Great show. Thanks for hanging out with us. Muse and Paulie back in studio. Alondra on site. If you missed it, we did react to Taysom Hill, his time officially done in New Orleans. But during the show, the big news that broke, Chris Olave, if you haven't heard, Olave has agreed to a contract extension with the New Orleans Saints. 4 years, $132 million, $90 million of it guaranteed. That makes him the sixth highest paid receiver in the NFL. Ross Jackson was here, reacted to that, gave the report. So right at the top of hour number 2, I gave you my reaction to the Olave deal. And the contract is, in the past couple of weeks since we've talked about this, the contract is exactly what I thought they were going to do. So they were going to pay him north of $30 million per, which is what they did. 32 million, 33 million per, I believe is what it averages out to. I'm not a fan of the deal. I think they overpaid for him. If you want my full reaction, you can get it over at wherever you get podcasts or on YouTube. All of our stuff is there. You can grab it for free. So tons of stuff from today. We'll be tomorrow in studio. Terrio's back for the Riot Radio Hours. We'll look forward to putting a button on the week with a fun Friday show. Final Friday before LSU hits the practice field. The Tigers will hit the practice field for the first time in fall camp next Wednesday. So when they do, of course, we'll have it all covered. All right, we'll do it for us here. We'll see you tomorrow at 3.
AFR.
Little delayed reaction. As we get on down the road, we remind you about First South Farm Credit. FirstSouthFarmCredit.com. FirstSouthFarmCredit.com. Thinking of buying land? Your first call should be to First South Farm Credit. It doesn't really matter what kind of land you're looking to buy, either for what purpose. Maybe it's land that you want to hold on to as an investment. I mean, a lot of people around tax season, you start thinking about, okay, maybe you need, look, if as a landowner, you're going to incur expenses. That could be good as far as your tax component. Talk to your CPA and see if owning land is a worthy investment for you or could help you with your tax bill. Maybe you want that recreational property. You work hard. You want to be able to escape to it. Maybe you want to hunt on your own property instead of someone else's property. First South Farm Credit can make that happen. Your first call should be to First South Farm Credit. Go to FirstSouthFarmCredit.com, FirstSouthFarmCredit.com.